Welcome to Longevity Industries' presentation of the Destiny of Manufacturing podcast. I am your host, Dean Phillips, and I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Precision Metalforming Association, and the PMA's Educational Foundation for helping us to put on this show and for all their great work. Speaking of the Precision Metalforming Association, I have the distinct pleasure today of speaking to Allison Grealis. She comes to us from PMA, where she is the VP of Association Services and also is the founder of Women in Manufacturing. Welcome, Allison.
Thank you, Dean.
So, Allison, it's great to have you here, and I wanted to ask you, what is your key takeaway of the destiny of manufacturing? So 5 years down the road, what's going to be different?
So I think in the next 5 years, the key thing that I would predict would be that manufacturing cultures are going to be very much different and transformed from how they look today. I think they're going to be changed for lots of different reasons, but I think the key reason that they will transform and be much different than they are in 2019 is that they need to change to be a place where millennials and new talent and diverse groups of individuals want to work.
I think you're absolutely right, especially if we want to tap into the if you want to say millennials or the next generation of manufacturers. We have to provide a little bit different workforce or different workplace than we have in the past. So
I agree.
Tell me a little bit about the Women in Manufacturing and all the hard work that you guys do over there.
So Women Manufacturing, we began our journey as an organization in 2010, 2011, and we grew out of what was a Women in Metalforming initiative that was powered by the Precision Metalforming Association. So there were some great individual female leaders within metalforming that were affiliated with the association, and they helped create a network of women in metalforming that were getting together to share best practices and to network and to provide business resources to one another. And as we were supporting on the staff side their efforts to connect and look for leading information to share, and we were shocked to find that there wasn't a national association for women in manufacturing generally. So I began kind of a business model for how to first start with a conference, bringing together people in the larger manufacturing space outside of just metalforming. And so we began in 2011 with a first ever Women in Manufacturing conference, which we called the Summit. And we were thrilled by the response. We had 133 women from all over the country that joined us for the kickoff event. And from what we heard from participants, they were asking immediately for more resources. And they asked, how do I join? How do I get engaged with this organization? And so I then looked at other models of other societies, like Society of Women Engineers and other longstanding organizations that were more individually based, and we looked at their models and we created a membership opportunity for people to join. And since then, we've now grown to support more than 2,300 individual members. We now power 20 chapters throughout the country, and we now have grown to be connected to about 1,000 manufacturing companies of all different sizes and shapes.
That's incredible, and that's great work that you guys do over there. I know Gretchen Zurich did a lot of work with that in the early days, and a lot of great people, a lot of great leaders that have come through that organization. Tell me some of the...
We've been very blessed.
I'm sorry. Yes.
We've been very blessed by support from Gretchen Zurich, from Carla, Aaron, Lisa Havey, lots of pioneer women in metalforming who were part of our advisory board. They're part of our journey. And it's been great to have metalforming women help us get started and still involved present day.
Great. Tell me, what are some of the challenges that you see with bringing women into manufacturing?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges is culture. And so I think that's why I do see it dramatically changing between now, 2019 or 2019, and in 5 years or 10 years from now. I think that manufacturing environments are changing to be more responsive to needs of both current young professionals, women, men who want to be involved more with a balance between work and life. I think that cultures haven't always been in manufacturing companies or facilities very progressive. So my belief is that these cultures will change to be more inclusive of lots of different people with different skill sets. So individuals who maybe don't have technical expertise, but are brought into a manufacturing facility because of a different array of skill sets that they have. So I think culture has been a challenge. I mean, we are in a male-dominated profession, manufacturing and metal forming. Manufacturing present day, women make up about 29% of the manufacturing workforce, which is a small smidge increase from when we first started our work. But there's still lots more opportunity for women to be part of the solution to fill open positions. But these have got to be attractive and desirable places to work. And interestingly enough, we just had a Coalition for Women in Industry meeting today, which Women in Manufacturing powers, and we have participation from some leading national organizations like the Society of Women Engineers, other national groups that have large populations they represent. And one of the things that was cited by the Society of Women Engineers is that women leave manufacturing and engineering based on their research, not because of what you might think, because of family or because of having children. The biggest reason why people are leaving is because of manufacturing, the culture. And so I think that culture piece is one of the big challenges. I think also, too, a challenge for women in manufacturing and what we try to tackle through our organization is women lacking a network. And that was one of the key reasons we got started. We found that, many women, especially at small to mid-sized companies, they could be the only female or one of a few females that are at their organization, and they might not feel supported, or they might not feel like they've got people like them that they could talk to about experiences or about challenges. So having this national network that we are now powering, we think is really important for them to have a place they can tap into, especially if they're a small-sized company without a women's resource group, that they can feel supported and get information, to find mentorship. So I think that has been a challenge, and we hope that we're helping to combat that.
And I'm sure that it has made a big difference. I've already seen a big change in, I guess, the culture within some of the manufacturing facilities I go into, that they try to make it more conducive for women who come into the manufacturing workplace that haven't been in there before. There's more work done on onboarding. There's more, I guess, awareness of how do we make this appealing to half of the workforce that's out there. Mm-hmm. What about some of the things that you do on the other side of making manufacturing look attractive to those young women that are coming into this industry, or who have never thought about coming into this industry?
Well, and the marketing piece is really a challenge. So we actually just talked about that today at our meeting as well. I mean, marketing manufacturing careers is really difficult. There's a lot of stigmas and outdated information that people have about what manufacturing looks like. And one of the biggest challenges is you've got parents who they personally may have been affected by past downsizing in manufacturing, or seen neighbors or family members lose jobs because of kind of the fragileness sometimes of the manufacturing workforce and manufacturing profitability. So changing perceptions from parents who we know are the biggest influencers, and moms in particular, to next generation kids as to where they're going to work. It's a big challenge to change their perception of manufacturing and the stability and the profitable nature that manufacturing careers provide. And then equally a challenge to get the students on board and to get those looking for careers to think of manufacturing in a different light, to understand that much of what we touch and use each day is manufactured, and that manufacturing careers aren't the 3Ds, the dark, dingy, and dangerous, but instead they're modern, they're high-tech, they're agile, they're using latest technology. There's a big kind of perception change that we have to help support for these young students. And I think it's getting to those career counselors, to getting to parents, to help them better understand the opportunity within manufacturing careers. And so that's why events like Manufacturing Day, which happens the first Friday in each October, are critically important, where manufacturing companies are invited to open up their facilities to welcome their community, the students, the parents, the career counselors, those looking for careers into their places of work, to see what modern manufacturing looks like. But I think more importantly than that is being open year-round to support, as an individual company, manufacturing awareness. So working with career counselors throughout the school year, working with educational institutions, working with parents to get them to understand that your facility is an employment option and should be one of choice.
I think you're faced with two challenges too. One part of that obviously is manufacturing, and the other part is the women aspect. It would be so much different if you were to go into, say, the business environment and talk to women about women in business, because there's always already a significant portion of women in business. But more importantly, there's not the stigma that exists with manufacturing. So you're not trying to overcome that. So you have to carry the flag for two sides of this.
Right. There's a lot to overcome. It's getting over how do we combat and battle these antiquated beliefs about manufacturing, and then likewise, how do we sell the story that there's 1.5 million women in manufacturing who are experiencing great careers, and this is why this should be something you pursue. And so, some of the key things that we're doing to kind of touch on both, we do the first thing is a Hear Her Story campaign. So we've now profiled more than 60 women in manufacturing at all different levels of their career and all different stages to share their story. So we directly interview them and through their own words, tell what a day in the life looks like for them in manufacturing. We walk through what attracted them to their current position. How do they make their way there? What do they do? What skill sets do they use on a daily basis? And then why do they like manufacturing? And why would they recommend this to someone looking for a career opportunity? And then likewise, we talk about kind of what is that work environment like? What are the manufacturing applications? How does it connect to their daily work and life? So that hopefully a young student, a young child could read this and be inspired to say, wow, I like gaming, or I like technology, or I like music, and here's how this could all connect. And we talk about those skill sets, problem solving. No day is ever the same. That their jobs and their positions allow them often to travel globally and locally and see how things are made and touch a product that they are actually producing and seeing its end application in an automobile or an appliance or in some type of fixture. Trying to share all of those different elements that might excite a new generation of talent to want to try manufacturing. And I think one of the things that we're seeing is that especially this millennial population, in any survey that you look at, whether it be Harvard Business Review or Industry Week, in surveys that are done of millennials who are looking for employment, the things that motivate them are so very different from my generation, which is Gen X, or other generations prior to mine. They're not motivated necessarily, the majority of them, I should say, are not motivated by money and bonuses and cars, or special perks. So many of them are more impactfully motivated by mission and what is this company accomplishing. And so that's why I think it's so important for manufacturing companies of all sizes to tell their story and their marketing and their messaging about what they make and how does it impact people's lives. How does that part or widget or component, how does that end up in a medical device that saves lives? Or how does that piece that you're making, that part, how is that part of a harnessing system in a vehicle that keeps families safe? It's those types of stories that I think will motivate and inspire and excite a new generation, many of them, to say, gosh, this could maybe be someplace where I'd want to work. I want to save lives. I want to help people who have open heart surgery. I want to help build components of water units that go to third world countries to help provide them clean drinking water. I'm so inspired when I get to meet with our manufacturing companies, and I've toured probably more than 1,000 to date, and to get to see all of the cool things that they make and how are they touching lives of people all over the globe.
Yeah, it is. How did you get involved in manufacturing as a whole?
I'm often asked, am I an engineer? Did I myself grow up in manufacturing? So I was not a woman in manufacturing myself. I grew up in a manufacturing family, though my father worked for Firestone Tire and Rubber. So I was born in upstate New York. He then got an opportunity to move with the company to Akron, Ohio, the rubber capital or rubber city. So I grew up in Akron, Ohio, and for much of his career, he was there and still worked in the tire and rubber industry until his retirement. So I got to see through his role kind of the process of making the application of the tires and the whole automotive supply chain. I, though myself, was an English pre-law women's studies major, and I always had an interest in working with organizations or groups that were volunteer-based. And so my first job out of college, I worked in Boston for a not-for-profit, and then came back to Akron, Ohio for grad school, and then found the opportunity to work with Trade Association, PMA. And I had no idea what trade associations did. I knew that they represented companies for common interests, but I didn't understand the complexity of all that trade associations do. So found my way to PMA 18 years ago, and since then have been very blessed to get to do and hold much near every role here at the organization, and then again be supported back in 2010-11 by this longstanding organization to kind of start this whole new initiative. So I've been very blessed, and I feel like my career has been very full circle to have an interest in women's studies, to have an awareness and interest in manufacturing and making things, and to work with volunteers, and now get to do that kind of all together in my career present day.
Terrific. That's a fantastic story that brought you to this industry and to the trade of metal forming. And we're glad to have you. Let me say that.
Oh, thank you.
Tell me what other things you think are going to be coming on the horizon for manufacturing 5 years down the road.
Well, I think, I know it's a buzzword, and I know it's talked about at every industry conference, but Industry 4.0 is real, and I think it is changing the way that all manufacturers will be doing business, whether you're small, mid-size, or large size. And I do believe that it's going to change what the look and feel of a facility is like, and how they supply their manufactured components, parts, and end products, as well as what their workforce looks like. So I think that's going to be the biggest factor. And I think how automation plays into these new facilities and the new roles and responsibilities and jobs that are created. I mean, if you look at the present day job that is common in many facilities, I think they're going to be drastically changing. I think through co-robots and automation, you're going to see a lot of those manual-based operations of lifting, moving parts, moving things from one platform or line to another, those being quickly automated if they're not already, and you're going to see those individuals who are in those roles having the opportunity to upskill, to look at a whole different set of positions that will be opened and encouraged by companies for them to get ready to hold or to get trained to possess. So I think Industry 4.0 is exciting. I think it's going to change, again, what this landscape of manufacturing positions are, and open up some really exciting new positions that never existed before because of enhancement and change in how we manufacture and process.
I couldn't agree more. The interchangeable words of Factory 4.0 and the Internet of Things and IoT 4.0 kind of mentality shows that we are currently in a technology boom. And
we are.
There's so much available to us now and cheaply. And I have to really stress that the cost of some of the, whether it be a sensor, whether it's even things in technology, you look at how cheap you can buy a drone for $100. You can buy a 3D printer for under a couple $100, and that technology is available now to almost anybody who's for a very compared to a college degree of a couple $100,000 and up.
It's very many of these tools are so affordable, and these solutions are ones that aren't reserved just for big companies. I mean, I go to industry conferences, trade shows, just like you do, and I'm amazed by the different opportunities that companies have to purchase solutions that can hugely increase their productivity, help them reduce or eliminate a lot of manual positions, that they can then move those individuals into more higher value positions and highly skilled positions. So I'm excited. I mean, I think manufacturing facilities are going to look so very different as we look through and go through them in the next 5 to 10 years.
I agree. The one area too with that's a challenge. I think often people have that stigma, that belief that, well, my job's going to get taken by a robot. That just never is the case. We have too much of a difficult time today finding people that we can move those people around. It's not a question of can we use those people. The question is how do I retrain them to be in a technological position as opposed to just a manual labor position.
Right. To me, it should be, there should be the perception that with automation, with new technology comes opportunity for the improvement in the types of job classifications and job opportunities that manufacturing companies offer. And talent is so very much in demand that I think it would be very few and far between positions that are lost or completely eliminated or people that are eliminated because of automation and technology.
Yes. Now, if you were to change one thing about how you do things now, what would be the one thing that if you had to look at and say, boy, I'm glad we don't do that anymore? So 5 years down the road, what is it you're going to be glad to not see or not have to do anymore?
I think the one thing that I would love to see go away would be, I think we touched on it earlier, would be the lack of understanding about manufacturing. I think that manufacturers of all sizes are getting to be more aware about the importance to promote the industry and to promote not only what their company's doing, but our larger industry. So my goal is that if I had a magic ball in 5 years, that there would be awareness nationally about the importance of manufacturing and what is manufacturing all about. From the K to 12 level to the adult mid-career level, that people would understand and better respect the importance of manufacturing. And so I would hope that changes dramatically over the next 5 years, that people have that awareness and that appreciation for the manufacturing sector.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Allison, we are just about out of time. I want to thank you for being here on our show today. And I'd like to thank the Precision Metalforming Association for their backing this show and being involved with it. It's been a great pleasure to have Allison Grealis here on our show. She is the founder of Women in Manufacturing, as well as the VP of Association Services at the Precision Metalforming Association. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.